Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the South African Heroes Awards 2023 virtual conference titled The Power of Influence, How to Use One's Influence to Empower and Build Thriving Communities. I'm so excited that this day has come, and of course, I'm not alone. I have a great lineup of speakers that will be talking about this very important topic. We have speakers from South Africa, from Nigeria, from the US. So it is really something that we thought about, and we're bringing you something that is going to empower you. And hopefully all our nominees in the South African Heroes Awards 2023 are here because these are the people that we are celebrating and our real influencers indeed. These days, the term influencer is kind of like used loosely. And I'd like to believe, but of course, this is not about me. It's about the speakers that I have, that they will share what they think is an influencer and how does one use their influence to build thriving communities and to empower communities, as our community heroes are doing just that. So without wasting any time, let me just let you know who I have with me. And before I do that, let me just thank the host of this platform that I'm on. It's Kat Oshman is one of our speakers today, and she has allowed us to be on her platform of the Amen Show, as well as Dr. Nziki Ngcoco of Power to Lead. Thank you so much, ladies, for sponsoring this virtual conference. We really appreciate you. And so let me get to our lineup of speakers. So today we have, as I've mentioned, Kat Oshman, all the way from California in the US. She's in the south of California. We have Pastor Mamsi Mashilini. I will introduce them as they start speaking in terms of telling you all about what they do. We have Dr. Nziki Ngcoco, the founder of Power to Lead, and also the overseer of the South African Heroes Awards. And we have a dear friend of mine all the way from Nigeria, in Lagos. I'd like to believe that's where she is. She will also be sharing with us. And I also like to apologize on behalf of Ntombi Miso, who was supposed to be with us today. Unfortunately, she was double booked. It happens when you are in the media space, when you're a media personality. She's a radio queen. So there is the Netball World Cup taking place for the first time on African soil. It's taking place in Cape Town. So she couldn't miss it. She's there. She'll be covering some of the things that she needs to cover. So unfortunately, she won't be joining us, but she does send her apologies. But again, we have a great lineup of speakers, so you will be empowered just as much. So without further ado, I want to start by introducing our first speaker, the one who was so generous to let us do what we're doing today. And her name is Kat Oshman. She is a swimwear designer, a confidence catalyst, founder of Amen Show, and that's Amplified Moms Empowerment Network. And she is a success-proven executive known for her exceptional leadership skills and unwavering commitment to empowering women. Of course, she's an influencer, you can tell from that. As the VP of Design, she has played a pivotal role in shaping the visual identity of numerous brands, and Kat has traveled the globe for inspiration and can be seen gracing red carpets with celebrities and influencers. Just a perfect person to be talking to on this topic of the power of influence. Welcome to our virtual conference, Kat, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much. I am honored to be here, to be a part of everyone here with the South African Heroes Award today. And that was an amazing introduction. I'm like, who is that amazing person?
Thank you, so kind. I've had an opportunity to be on your wonderful show that you co-host with Dr. Nziki Ngcoco. I know what a powerful person you are, an influential woman, of note. I know you have prepared a presentation, but just before we get to your presentation, just a little bit, what does influence mean to you, and what is an influencer?
Influence means to me is the power to convince or inspire somebody. Right. So it's a matter of using our language, our body language to create influence. So whether it is a local or global scale, when we're talking to somebody, we're constantly trying to convince them, whether it is our opinion, to say yes to a sale or to a movement or to even vote. So that is the power of influence and what that means to me. And then in terms of what an influencer is, an influencer is somebody who people can see, respectfully, where they will listen to them. And in terms of, there's a lot of things, like we'll get into it in the presentation.
Right, yes. So over to you. We're ready for your presentation.
Okay, sounds good. So let's see. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the power of influence is the power to convince somebody, to inspire someone to say yes to a sale. So whether you are in business, you're trying to convince them because you're making sales, or to movement and to vote. And when you think about somebody who is influential, it could be somebody that you know locally, like even a grandmother. Would you guys agree that a grandmother can have such an influence in her family, in her community, right? And then from a more community, regional, global perspective, you have to have visibility. So in order to become a person of influence, you have to have visibility, to be seen, to put yourself out there, and also to make others feel seen. There's an art of communication, and it is not only for you to be able to speak, but to also speak, listen, and to connect. Connect is one of the most important things in terms of communication, right? It's not just getting your message across. It is having that person understand where you're coming from, and for you to listen and to also understand their perspective. So there's several things to become a person of influence. So other than visibility, they have to know you. How do they know you in your community? How do they know you from a local to a global scale? Do they like you? You have to be likable to be a person of influence. Would you agree, Amanda?
Definitely, I would agree. You have to be someone that draws people, in terms of your personality, how you carry yourself. So definitely, I agree with you, Kate.
Great, thank you. And then the other thing is, do they trust you? So in order to be a person of influence, they have to trust what you're saying. You have to be credible. And then also, are you reliable? If you are a person who is not trustworthy, or they can't rely on you, and when you're speaking, again, from a local to a global scale, they will not follow you. That is how you create followers and become a person of influence. And then also, what is your reputation? You have to, there's a saying, right? Like it takes years and years and years to build a reputation, and it takes a moment to crash that reputation. So when you're not honest and when you're not doing business with integrity, your reputation, your great reputation that was once here, it will spread like wildfire. People will say, don't do business with that person. Don't invite that person to be a speaker or to your event, because it's sort of like a disease. When you ruin your reputation, you become like a disease in that environment. And then also, what is your experience? Do you have the experience to back up what it is that you're saying? If you are a newbie or a rookie, we like to say it in America, right? Somebody who has very, very little experience, you're green, and you're trying to sell this huge vision, people are not going to invest in you. People are not going to spend time with you in terms of, unless they give you a chance, you don't have the experience to back it up, especially when they're investing financially. And then also, is what you're saying relevant to them? You can't just be so off topic in terms of what you're saying. The person that you're speaking with they have to be interested, and whatever you're saying, it has to be relevant to them. And then also the other thing is, they're always going to be asking. They may not ask you directly, but do you have what they want? So when you're speaking from either a personal standpoint or a business standpoint, it's just human nature. They will ask, well, what's in it for me? Do you have a product that I want? Is there a feeling that I'm going to get from being with you? Am I going to be happy? Am I going to laugh? Am I going to see results from your coaching program, from your business proposal, or even am I going to be inspired by whatever it is that you are influencing me to do? And lastly, and I know we are going into Q&A, Amanda, is to be confident. I want to remind everybody to be confident, to keep your voice, to keep your authentic voice, because not everyone is for you and you are not for everyone, and that's okay.
I like that. Not everyone is for you and you are not for everyone. So you should know what kind of people you want to influence. And obviously you will be chosen by those that want to be influenced by you as well. So you're not going to be attractive to everybody. Thank you so much for that, Kat. I really enjoyed that presentation, and you put in some very interesting points out there. And, when I opened the conference, I said that these days we have a number of influencers, and you touched on something that is very important, that one has to be visible in order for them to be an influencer. Now, I've picked up a trend that people will try to do anything and everything to be visible. And can you speak to that? Because I don't want us to mistake this visibility for just doing anything really, so that you can attract attention, and it can result in negative attention. So how important is this?
That is a great question. So yes, I would advise you, as important as visibility is, you have to stand for something. Mm-hmm. If you stand for, let's say, South African Heroes Award, right? You don't want to be a guest on random shows that have nothing to do with either your mission or your audience. Mm-hmm. And vice versa, right? Like, I stand for empowering women, and I'm not going to go on a show that goes against my mission in terms of supporting and empowering women and amplifying who they are on a singles, show that has party and drinking or whatnot, because that is outside of my alignment in terms of who I am and supporting moms and women in general. So yeah, you have to be selective in terms of the visibility, because again, everything that you do can end up online.
Great. And line it up with your brand or whatever it is that you stand for, as you're saying. And so lastly, before we check if there's someone perhaps that has directed a question to you. So this platform celebrates people who are community builders. So they already stand for something. They want to improve the lives of other people. And they want to make a difference and an impact in the communities. Now, the thing that I've observed, and I'm sure other people have observed as well, is that negativity gets emulated quite easily, right? So how can we try to put ourselves out there as those that are empowering communities, so that people can also emulate what we're doing? Because it's sad that mainstream media covers maybe things that sell, that are not necessarily good, and unfortunately we see those reproduced by those that watch them. So how can we deliberately try, intentionally, that's the word I'm looking for, try to put our good works out there so that those that are watching can get to follow suit?
Great question. So it's all about integrity. Integrity, being intentional about what you're doing when you're around people and when you're not, right? So people get depressed when what they're doing in their lives is not congruent. Mm-hmm. So it is how you feel about what you're doing, and you have to put in the work like I'm always like putting in the work, and everybody has to put in the work in terms of a personal growth journey or learning your up leveling your skills. It's always about putting the work so that then whatever your vision is, you align yourself with other people that are doing what you want to be doing. So there are people that are going to have not necessarily bad intentions, but it will not align with the intentions that you have. So you want to do good works, you want to be, awesome in your community from a local to a global scale. There are people that are going to be out that are all about the sale. Like, just give me your money, and they don't really care about your end results or whatnot. Well, you don't want to align yourself with that. And when you continue to choose the people that you want to align with, learn from, influence, and have that type of visibility, people are going to know who you are and what you stand for. So, like Amanda, you have an amazing reputation at a global scale. They know who you are, they know what you stand for, as do I, but it takes a lot of work and building to get there.
Right. Thank you so much. I like how you answered that and just summed it up, that it all goes back to how you position yourself. And again, it's one of the reasons why we came up with the platform of SA Heroes Awards, because I felt like there isn't much attention that is paid to people who are doing good in our community. So can we just put them on the platform and the pedestal and say, look, here we have people who are empowering communities, and there is South African positive news that is profiling them. Yes, mainstream media is also catching up now, but we know a little section maybe at the end, at the back of a newspaper, or some section on an online platform, or a little bit of a tail ender for a news broadcasting channel. So they are catching up. So I think we are on the right track. Thank you so much, Kat, for that presentation. Really, really loved it. I learned a lot from you. And thank you so much. I took that, you have to be intentional about being visible. Otherwise, if you're not visible, nobody's going to know anything about you. So I guess our heroes are listening. Start building on that visibility, but of course, in a good way. Get some people that can help if you don't know how to do that. Thank you so much. Are there any questions, perhaps, to you, Kat, that you can pick up online? Or comments?
I will share that. But thank you so much, Amanda. And your people and your nominees are welcome anytime on the Amen Show. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a very good presentation there by Kat Oshman. I'm sure you've taken some points and wrote some things down. So if you've just joined us, this is the Power of Influence. It is a virtual conference that is put together by the South African Heroes Awards. This is our 5th installment, where we get to celebrate community builders, community heroes. And of course, we're not doing this alone. We are on the platform of Amen. That is the Amplified Moms Empowerment Network, and also Power to Lead. That is a show that is done by Dr. Ntsiki Ngcobo, who will be talking to us later on the program. Without wasting any time, let's move right along to our next speaker. And it's someone that I also look up to. And I'm very excited to say that she's also a family of the South African Heroes Awards, because in our very first installment, she was nominated, and also last year, she was a runner-up in women empowerment. And so we're excited to have Pastor Mamsi Mashinini Ndlalani. This woman has done so much. So you will bear with me as I go through her profile and amazing profile. She's the founder and CEO of Mamusa Educational Institute. It is the first private school in the township of Duduza. She's an award-winning author of a book titled Revisit the Mirror, and an ex-core member of the Investor of Forte Alumni Gauteng chapter, an African champion for a girl child education, a mentor, a philanthropist, and change agent. And she's been recognized and awarded and the following champion badge for a girl child education in Africa 2023, and listed in the prestigious Power List of African Doers 2023. winner of the Duduza Heroes Awards in Community Development and Philanthropy categories in 2022. Best Book 2022 for Revisit the Mirror, awarded by Black Entertainment Radio, and the Best Author in the Nonfiction category 2021. Yo, I'm not going to be able to list everything, and she knows she's such an achiever. She's done so many things. Welcome to the Power of Influence, Pastor Mamsi Dlalane Mashinini. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Amanda. Good morning to all those beautiful ladies. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I must say that I realized that we actually have a number of things in common. That you went to Forte University, that I went to. And there's something else that I picked up. Oh, yes, an African Dua as well. Amazing stuff. We celebrate you indeed. I know that you have prepared a presentation for us today. So without wasting any time, over to you.
Good morning to every listener. Thank you very much for this invitation. It's an honor for me to be here and to be doing this presentation. You know, quite a powerful theme, actually, power of influence. And in all the things that I've been doing in my life, I never thought that I had influence up until such time I received this topic from you. But okay, whatever empowerment that I did, it was part of being influential to other people. So having all this being outlined and explained on what an influencer is, I won't dwell into that. I'll straight go into the power of how now do I use my influence in order to empower people, because what we are striving at here, we're striving at a community that is less joblessness, a community that will create more jobs, a community that will have less poverty in its own. So I also had this in mind, that I wanted to do something, never thought that it was going to be an influence. But I fell under all the categories that were mentioned of an influencer, including availability, resilience, resistance, and integrity. So now what I decided to do, I wanted to empower women. I wanted to empower the youth, because I was always having these women that were coming to me, being broken, needed to be fixed, but they also had nothing. They couldn't contribute anything positive to the community. So now I started a school. So with the school, I had this thing in mind that when you bring something to the community that the community doesn't have, you will be celebrated, you will be a hero, but it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, I found myself on the other side of the community. But I had to resist, I had to stand tough, I had to fight, and then so that this becomes a reality. So I have programs that I'm using in order to empower people so that we can move to a thriving community. Because for me, a thriving community is a community that has its people who are able to create their own jobs. So I will just delve into these programs that I'm doing. I use my school, which is Mamusa Educational Institute, first in the township, so that it can be the people accessible to the people. I create jobs. There are lots of unemployed graduates. I create jobs for them. I give them jobs. I give them salaries so that they can be able to live, so that they can be able to maintain their families. Number two, I use the school to bring in dropouts. I create assistant jobs and internships for college and university dropouts. Assist them to re-register, go back to school, complete their degrees, and then there's an exit program. Once they complete their degrees, they exit in order to open space for other graduates. So far, I'm proud to say 10 of those graduates have graduated. They've obtained their degrees and they were dropouts. So it's the way in which I empower them. So at least there's more job that is being created. So one other thing also that I do, I used to do that developmental skills. It's a center in the same area where we are in the community center, where they offer skills for different skills. All the ladies and other people that I mentor, I refer them there for skills, to advise them to be skilled so that they can be able to do things on their own rather than depending on people. Other thing that I use is my own NPO, Wemandla. With Wemandla, women come there being broken, being hurt. You cannot at any stage empower a person who is hurt, empower a person who's broken, empower a person who is hopeless. You have to be a hope yourself. When they look at you, they must see hope because of all the things that you've gone through and being able to find a footing and do something. So in the process of healing them, we also introduce empowerment so that we tell them about skills. We tell them about the departments whereby they can go and get funding for small businesses. We advise them to start small businesses. We've seen some women starting businesses. We also more now interested in agriculture. I teach them to plant, to have their own vegetables so that they can be able to feed their families. What my aim is to see women being independent. I want to see them having their self-identity, because in all their process, the process of problems and abuse, they lose identity. So once they're independent and have identity and have streams of income, it becomes easier for them to go back into the community and participate in the economy in a positive way so that they can be able to also to contribute something so that we can have a thriving community. Lastly, I use my philanthropic work in order also to educate children of the beneficiaries, because with this work, I give blankets and food to all the elderly people, the widows and the orphans. But then I use that also to help their children, their grandchildren, all their extended family members to be mentored and to be educated. So it becomes easier for them to do something. Philanthropy alone, it doesn't work. It makes people to depend more and more in receiving and relaxing rather than giving. Thank you very much. It is the awards that I got from South African Heroes Award. Actually, Amanda, I'm a twice first runner. 2020, I was also the first runner for the awards.
Oh,
that one was very
yes.
fun. Yeah.
Wow.
So I have 2 certificates. Among all the awards that I've received, the SA Heroes Awards still gives me more platform because of the title, South African Heroes Awards. Even after the African Awards, I was profiled for SA Awards in a TV in Kenya, in Zambia, in Nigeria. They said, no, we have looked into your profile. Tell us about the South African Heroes Awards. Don't tell us about these that we know. So you're doing a great job. May the good Lord bless you. So I want to say to everybody, yeah, it's cruel to dream and not to achieve. Make sure that you achieve what you've dreamed of. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's cruel to dream and not to achieve. Wow, wow, wow. What a punchline right there. Thank you so much, Pastor Mamsi Mashinini Ndlalani. And I'm glad that you're saying that, the South African Heroes Awards, the achievement on that platform has opened doors for you, because that's exactly the reason why we are doing what we're doing, to make sure that, our community heroes are celebrated the world over, not just here in South Africa. And we'll talk about that, because that's the reason why we have Lydia joining us as well, all the way from Nigeria. But let me just engage you on some of the things that you've talked about. By the way, a job well done in making sure that you're empowering others. Excellent work that you're doing. And you mentioned something about funding. I want to find out, what are some of the challenges that you came across and how did you overcome them, especially in the area of funding? Because what I've picked up is that, from the heroes that we've been dealing with, whether they were winners, runners up, or just nominated, which is great on its own, the main thing that is cited as a challenge is funding. And of course, if you are struggling with funds, you won't be able to even think about putting yourself out there so that others can know about what you're doing. Not in a way that you want accolades, of course, but because now we want the community to copy what these heroes are doing. When people are doing good, we want, those that are looking to say, oh, maybe also in my little corner, I can do what this one is doing. But if they have a challenge of funds, of course, they won't be able to have that impact and that influence and that visibility that Kat spoke about. So how did you overcome challenges as far as funding is concerned?
Funding is a challenge in our country. There are lots of red tape. You cannot believe that it's 8 years now that the school has been in existence. Not even a single funding has come. I haven't even gotten the subsidy from the department. But it is the dream that one has that sustains you. It is the vision that you have that sustains you to say, I want to create jobs. Let me find other ways, other means of income, so that the dream becomes a reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult.
Don't give up. And Cynthia Dinalane is saying that funding is a big challenge, indeed, because a number of them, as I said, they are citing funding, and I can relate to that, because even this platform, that we have established for our heroes to be recognized, there are still some challenges, as far as funding is concerned, but thank God that we are in our fifth year, and hopefully there are people that are watching and are listening, and will be able to say we can lend a hand, because we have amazing, amazing people that are doing great things in the different categories. Empowerment, what you are doing, what Kat is doing in America, much needed in our continent, and community development. There is so much youth empowerment. So there's a lot really that our people are doing, and they still keep going because of that dream that you mentioned, Pastor Mamsi. Thank you once again for that. And thank you so much for your words of wisdom, and also just for sharing, the practical advice that you have shared, and for empowering women and young people, and being a trailblazer as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was Pastor Mamsi Mashinini Ndlalani. She is the founder and CEO of Mamusa Educational Institute, a first private school in the township of Dudu. There's so many other things. If you've just joined in and you didn't get that, you will watch later when this has been uploaded. And now I'm going to introduce our last speaker, she is dear to me. She is the founder of Power to Lead with Integrity and Foundation, a management consultant with over 30 years of experience within human resource solutions. She's a leadership and legacy coach, an entrepreneur, board director, international public speaker, #1 Amazon bestseller author. She hosts hybrid and virtual events, conference moderator, workshop and masterclass facilitator, MC and program director. She's a host of Power to Lead Show, the platform that one of the platforms we are on right now, and co-host of Amen Show, another platform we are on right now. And also, she is the overseer and the advisor of the South African Heroes Awards. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Dr. Ntsiki Nqoko. Over to you, my Queen Mother.
Thank you so much, my princess. I have the light, even if it looks like physically I'm in the dark. This is another power of influence. You see, I want to say thank you, first of all, for what you have organized for all of us globally to be really just deliberating on the power of influence, as if we don't know, we have never, talked about it before, because it advances every day. So thank you so much for inviting me to the platform, and thank you to all the wonderful speakers. I was listening, and it was such a beautiful pleasure to listen to all their presentations. We complement each other. That's another power of influence. So for me, I want to start it on this note. Influence is, on two aspects. It can be a positive or a negative influence. So when people influence each other, or systems influence the communities and the people, like right now, I'm influenced negatively by the power system in the area at this particular moment. And it doesn't mean it is going to stay on like this. There is a moment I'm waiting for 8 o'clock and I break out of the darkness. I could be on the light just like you. So when there is a negative influence over people's lives, sometimes it is because of their choices. Sometimes it is because of the systems that they cannot even, control. So when we talk about this, we understand that people have choices. I'm starting with a negative influence so that we can end on a good positive note. The negative influence can influence the whole society. If one leader has no heart or integrity to lead the people, and he has the kind of charisma, people follow them, that leader can negatively impact the whole society, and people would still believe. Practical examples are some of the things we're going through right now. As you said, let's deliberate on how we influence communities. When in areas where people were supposed to be positive, in the pastoral areas, in the leadership areas, in communities, not all, hear me very well, not all, but even the governments, when the leadership and the presidents are having a negative influence over the people, then it impacts people badly and negatively. And then you will really experience that scripture, that's Proverbs 29, verse 2, when it says, when the good people, the righteous rule, people rejoice. But when the wicked leaders rule, people mourn. So you will, let us speak on a character of a leader. Leaders, let me start it again from the scripture. Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous rule, people rejoice. And when the wicked rule, people mourn. So that is where I started by saying influence can be positive and it can be negative. And we would also wonder, why do people follow leaders who are leading them with a wicked, fist? And yet there are leaders who can lead graciously, with grace and with good hearts. But we see it right now, even in Africa. We see leaders leading people to a place where they mourn throughout, but people will still believe. There are people who have charisma in influence, even if their results are negative. So it is now in the mindset of the followers to see how they are being influenced, how they are being impacted, and what changes they need to make in their lives and their choices. We need to change and follow leaders who are going to lead us on the ways of righteousness so that everybody else in our communities can rejoice. Now, that only can be a character that can lead someone to that level. So I wanted to say influence is leadership and a great character. So I'm going to put it as a grand character. Love paired with a fully developed character must truly be grand set thing in this world so that we can all live graciously, being influenced positively. No one can acquire a far-reaching influence without a fair mental balance, without great strengths from many sides. So it shows that as a human being, we lead from different facets. So they should all be balanced so that we can show this grand influence and character to lead others to the right success in life. The dominant influences in the shaping of character are hereditary and environment. So there are, characters who even in our communities influence even our youth, influence them negatively and impact them negatively to love the flourishing lifestyle, love things that are materialistic, and think that that is just a success. So our mindset should be really bringing the focus back to love, that our characters should be built on love and they should be built on character building so that it can be transformational for each and everyone to be on the personal mastery journey every day of our lives. So the influence that we should be bringing is developing and lifting up each other. like we do on SA Heroes Awards. As we rise, we lift others up. We look at places where there are people who have never been recognized, but they are doing good things. So those are light bearers where they are. So the kind of souls indeed are really light bearers. They bring the light to their communities and support each other without funds, without rewards, or even looking for them. We identify them because they are doing goodness. So the importance of influence on this earth is for us to do goodness. So we don't need a formal introduction to feel the greatness within a man of true character. If you meet a cheerful man on the street on, cold day, hot day, you seem to feel the mercury rise several degrees in you as well, because the influence of a happy soul can impact you, and the influence of a positive mindset, someone who is, even if they're going through difficulties, they will fight through. They impact you. Imagine a smile. A smile is a great tool of influence impacting us, even if we don't understand each other's language. By just smiling back at someone, not understanding the languages, but you see the heart melting and you see the communication in the eyes. That's influence without even saying a word. And you will see people starting a song, and the song can impact all of us to be in unity. So I want to leave it there so that maybe we can have time to deliberate, and I can also just share on some other areas of, this great character. What is a great impact on a character that could be, embracing us, a topic of successful living. Character is what determines your value to the world. So I want to challenge us that our characters should be raised to that level of showing well what determines us to this great world. A grand character, to be light bearers, and the great-hearted people, and the boldness of the spirit. One person can influence the globe positively. We look at Mother Teresa and we know that she impacted the world positively with a high and great influence. Thank you. Let me leave it there for now so we can have time to engage.
Thank you, Sister Nasiki. We have Amanda briefly offline, so I'm here, and I would like to invite the other ladies who, Miss Mamsi and Lydia, if they want to come back on, just please turn on your video. And so that was such a powerful segment, sister. I'm going to bring up Miss Mamsi back on to the stream. So, Sister Nasiki, that was so powerful. What would your advice be to the youth who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience recognizing good character? That is the question for you.
All right. Thank you so much. That's a great question. A youth need to have a positive mindset and to identify what is the real gold. Not everything that glitters is diamonds. So if they understand with their eyes that even the leaders who are leading, with a lifestyle that looks like glittering, it is not all that it glitters on a positive note. So youth, look up for leaders who lead with a heart and a character and care for the people. If leaders care for people and people are rejoicing around them and not begging them and not being subordinates who are bowing before they get something out of them, but anything they get from the leaders, it flows from their heart, it flows from their spirit of goodness, and it expands, and it is for the people and not for their own selfish reasons. That's where you should be looking. look at those leaders who lead with integrity and character.
Amazing. Definitely look for leaders with integrity and character. Momsy, do you want to add anything to what Sister Nasiki said? Would you like to add anything to that?
Good evening, my queen, African queen, Dr. Nsiki. Yo, yeah, it's too much. That was powerful. Yeah, what I want to say is that it's very much important to be able to emulate good leaders. As I was listening to her, I said, wow, I also need to get some coaching on leadership. Yeah, since she's so profound and she knows exactly how these qualities of a leader should be. We just read about them from books, but when you look at people like her, it's only then that we can say, true, we can see such people. We know there's one like that. Because most of the time when we read about these things from the book and you don't see a person who's practicing this, it becomes just useless. So thank you very much for the character that you have, the character that you are portraying in the whole of the African ladies. So we salute you.
Thank
I
you so
love that.
much, Queen. I'm very humbled. Thank you.
I love what Sister Momsy said, and to be able to recognize an amazing leader in Queen Dr. Nasiki, right? So I feel like in order to recognize that, we also have to do the work ourselves to recognize what it is that we need. Would you agree to that?
Definitely.
Yeah. What would you like to add to that, Dr. Nasiki?
I would like to, just add this. In our lifestyle, let's have goal setting for success. And our goals should be set for to be great and to show this amazing leadership to our youth and women. So I'm going to just say my recommendations. Let's exchange programs on a B2B, business to business, for women facilitated by men as well. We bring in men because there are so many men who support our women programs. And I've seen over and over on LinkedIn men acknowledging the fact that women are great leaders. And I do agree with them because women led even men when they were babies. So, really, we are nurturers. So, let's nurture the power of influence to our greatest ability as women. So, also to charge men leading the trade integrations, of women in the marketplace globally. Please collaborate with us, assist us, help us to the areas where we have not been before. When we talk about women empowerment and we talk about diversity and inclusion, we are not saying we're pushing men out of their positions. All we are saying is that bring us on as you rise, lift us up, coach us as well, and bring us to the table in the boardrooms. There shouldn't be one woman in a boardroom where there are 10 men. Let there be a balance. That's the power of your influence as men who support women. And us as women, when we get to those boardrooms, let us behave. Let our characters show up as great characters that really we deserve those positions and leadership. So, women playing a critical role in the implementation of any trade, be it in Africa or globally. Don't be those queens like queen bees that are hiding information from others. Pastor Mamsu was talking about the funding. Let's share the funds, let's share resources, share information. The trade policies that are pro women in the marketplace globally, that talks to inclusion of women, should be propelled more than before now. Lastly, on the entrepreneurship platforms, let us share how you made it. We are not going to take your clients, but at least leave others well. We cannot see one woman who is in all boardrooms in South Africa, and yet there are other women who also qualify and deserve. Nurture others, train them as well, and transfer the skills. That's the power of influence. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Welcome back, Amanda. Please add to that whole powerful segment.
Thank you so much, Kat. My sincere apologies for that interruption. We are living in interesting times of just power interruption anytime, anywhere, and then you just, lose your connection. But thank you so much for holding the fort and doing an amazing job. And I know that Dr. Nsiki has said some amazing things that I missed out on, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm going to go back myself and just learn as much as I can from what she said. But I did pick up from what she was saying as she closes that, it's very important for us to share information to empower others. You don't want to be the only one that's shining. You want to extend a helping hand to others so that they can also get to where you are. But Kat, I'm sure there's something that you want to just throw in or ask from what I missed out so that I don't do an injustice to that presentation.
Absolutely. I loved how Dr. Nsiki addressed men, because men, as much as we love to empower women and we want to rise, together, it's really important with the roles that men play in the home and in the workplace. It's not about validation, right, ladies? It is about the influence and encouragement and the sponsorship to lift up the women, because most women raised these men and they will not be where they are today without these important women in their lives. So instead of forgetting about those women or only focusing on the women that are in their family, it's so important to encourage and uplift women because of opportunities. There's a lot of pay gaps across the globe where men get paid more than women, is to provide that platform where we feel safe, we feel seen, and we have the power to influence and to make the money as well as the men. So thank you for addressing that. Powerful
point indeed, and I'm glad that it was brought on this platform as well. It's great that we do have men, in all these years that we've been doing South African Heroes Awards. But I must say that it has been a high number of women that have been participating in this, and to see men also joining and empowering women as well. As they grow with them, and we create an enabling environment for our women to be able to stand, side by side with men and not be looked down upon. So it's something that is very important. Hence, we have that women empowerment category here in the SA Heroes Awards. Thank you so much, ladies, for this. I think we have exhausted the topic, unless there is someone that wants to say something. But if not, I'm just going to give each of you just a minute or two, a minute for your parting shots, and then we'll just have our announcements that we're going to have in terms of when the awards are taking place, where, and how people can be part of them. So let's start with you, Kat.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to thank you again for inviting me to the South African Heroes Award. I know the important work that you do with your team, Amanda and Dr. Nsiki and Momsi and Lydia, and also for the people joining us and the nominees. So thank you for being amazing across the globe. I am honored to be part of the movement, any positive movement that we can create as women and leaders and people of influence. So thank you again. And I'm opening up the Amen Show to anybody that wants to join us, who wants to share about great news. We amplify women and we talk about culture, diversity, inclusivity, and thank you again.
Thank you, Kate. And Pastor Mamsi?
Yo, what an evening, Amanda. This I have to say, word of gratitude to you. You don't know how much of an influencer you are. So most of the time I'm where I am, most of the media coverage that I got and invitations, it was because of you. You pushed me to beyond the limit. Yeah. So I know sometimes we're doing things not being aware that you're empowering me. Really got great empowered. I'm going to Egypt now in October, the whole week from the 29th
Wow.
until the 10th of November. I'll be speaking there. So it's all because of you. So people got to recognize me. And may the good Lord bless you. Continue doing this. God will bless you in a better way. Sponsors will come your way. Rain of money and other things will definitely
Amen.
follow you. Thank you for being with you now. Finally, I sometimes watch you with Dr. Ntsigi on this because most of the time I do tune in. So thank you for being here with you and having you talking to me, calling me by my name. Thank you very much. To my queen, thank you. And the lady from Nigeria, it's Lydia.
Lydia.
Lydia, thank you very much. You spoke so well. Yo, how I wish I was young. Man, I was going to join journalism. Thank you
Mhm.
very much. To all the ladies out there, it is possible. Nothing is impossible. You can do anything. There's greatness in you. Just do it. Just hold on. The South African Heroes Awards are the way to greatness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well said. And over to you, Lydia. Your last words. Okay. Maybe Lydia has connection issues there. We can move on to Dr. Nzigi. Just your last words, Dr. Nzigi.
Thank you so much once again, Amanda. I want to thank you for this wonderful conference and thank you with your co-host, Kat Oshman, all the way from California, up in the morning for us. This is the power of influence and collaboration. I wanted to share a Japanese proverb. And thank you so much to the speakers who spoke so well on this power of influence and also showing it. You know, we are not like Mother Crab who say to the little ones, walk this way and walk straight, and yet the way she's walking is sideways. So we should all make sure we are not walking like Mother Crab. When we say to our youth, walk this way, it should be the ways that we also walk our talk. Let me share the Japanese proverb. When the character of a man is not clear to you, look at his friends. So let our characters be clear. I look at my friends, I look at people on the platform right now in the conference, I look at friends around, and I am proud to identify with you that our characters are clear and they have a successful image to lead the youth. So let us be those who have the moral courage, always wins out in the world, and put that moral courage for the world to win through us, through our impact and influence. We are influence. Thank you, SA Heroes Awards.
Well said. Thank you so much, Queen Mother. Thank you so much, ladies, for your input this evening. It's been great. It's been wonderful. And I want to acknowledge Cynthia Dinalane online, who's been just, interacting with us, and all those that have joined us. Thank you so much, heroes. I hope all the information that has been shared here, you have noted it. You will indeed use it. In time saying, Dlamini says, good evening, Sis Amanda. I'm from the Eastern Cape, and I'm happy to meet our hero here, even though we don't know her, but we saw her several times on TV. I'm talking about Cynthia. This woman deserves the World Heroes Award. Her work is amazing. I wish I can come to Joburg just to applaud her. Mom Cynthia, I can see you here. We appreciate you as South Africa. That is wonderful. Thanks a lot for the show. Very much inspiring, encouraging, and educating. It was worth listening to. That's Priscilla Hadiferi. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Cynthia says, Amanda, thank you for coming with this kind of awards because it encourages people to do more to our country. Pick up to South African Heroes Awards.